This place has a wealth of history. It is just fascinating to come in here. You can come and you can get lost.
Bradley Academy has the distinction of being the first school established in Rutherford County. The origin of Bradley Academy as an institution of learning stems from the Congressional Land Grant Act of 1806. In response to this act, the Tennessee General Assembly passed legislation establishing an academy in each of the counties of Tennessee. The original Bradley Academy building was a small log cabin school near the Stones River, near the site of Old Jefferson, the original county seat. The academy was located on land donated by John Bradley, a Revolutionary War officer. Thus, the name of the school is derived from this benefactor. Originally, Bradley was believed to have opened in 1811, but recently discovered documents now place the planned opening as early as 1809. James K. Polk and John Bell would become some of the early scholars to attend Bradley Academy during this time period. Both men would later be nominated by their respective parties for the presidency of the United States. James K. Polk was elected president in 1844. In the late 1820s, a brick Bradley Academy was built, and this building hosted the classes of Union University, while that institution's facility was under construction on Main Street. In 1884, after decades of neglect and non-use, Rutherford County reorganized its school system, and the building once again housed students, this time exclusively African Americans. Bradley was the first step toward formal education for blacks in the community. In 1917, under new legislation from the Tennessee General Assembly, which strengthened education for both black and white students, construction of the present Bradley Academy building began. Opening in 1918, Bradley became the social and cultural center for the black community, as well as main educational facility. The school was home to both elementary and high school students. The success of Bradley's academic, athletic, and civic programs elevated black participation in the education process, encouraging enrollment. This led to the Murfreesboro City School Board approving the construction of Holloway High School. When Holloway opened in 1928, Bradley became an elementary school once again. After the United States Supreme Court overturned its 1896 decision declaring unanimously that separate public educational facilities were inherently unequal and thus unconstitutional in 1954, Bradley Academy soon closed its doors. In 1990, the Bradley Academy Historical Association was chartered with the purpose of reclaiming and rehabilitating the 1917 building. Bradley Academy was placed on the National Register of Historic Places. In 1991, the Tennessee Historic Commission erected a historic marker at the site to indicate its importance to the community. The Bradley Academy Historical Association, along with the MTSU Center for Historic Preservation, the City of Murfreesboro, the Tennessee Historical Commission, Congressman Bart Gordon, with substantial assistance from the Christy Houston Foundation, the Tennessee General Assembly, the United States Department of Housing and Urban Development, totally renovated the building and reopened it in 1999 as a museum and cultural center, making Bradley Academy once again a vital part of this community.
That was a grand day for this community. I remember the kickoff event. Then President Jim Walker was the president of MTSU, and he was really very instrumental in providing resources from the university through the Center for Historic Preservation. Mr. Jim Huda and Kanita Hankins were responsible for archiving a lot of the collections that we see on display now. It became a collaborative process, but it was a very diverse group throughout the community because there were so many city leaders that were excited about the prospect of the restoration of the building in addition to the restoration of the history of this very fine institution. I can clearly recall thinking with former teachers that actually taught here, and then the generations after that, including the students and their family members, coming all to celebrate the excitement with the restoration. You could still hear the voices of former students walking through the facility and pointing out where they sat in the classrooms, where they ate on the second floor with the cafeteria. So it was just a grand celebration. And to be able to see how we restored life to a facility that a community depended on for so long to educate the young people for a long, long time.
Bradley Academy currently houses exhibits on the Underground Railroad, Rutherford County's 19th century history, the United States colored troops during the Civil War, Bradley Academy and Holloway High School, and a heritage classroom.
Who should come to Bradley Academy? Everyone. Why should you come to Bradley Academy? Because when you come here, you are going to learn so much about everything that happened in this community. And not just what happened recently, but everything that happened from the beginning when this Bradley Academy was the location where James K. Polk, the 11th President of the United States, went to school. You will get an opportunity to see the historical significance. And when you understand your history, you understand your future. You know where you've been, you can see where you want to go. So come to Bradley Academy. Everyone needs to come here. It's a great opportunity. You will love it. You will see things that you didn't even imagine, and the past will come to life for you.
The Underground Railroad exhibit. For the slave, running away to the north was anything but easy. So an organized system to assist runaway slaves arose near the end of the 18th century, and it was dubbed the Underground Railroad. Made of a vast network of people, its purpose was to help fugitive slaves escape. This exhibit displays the bravery and action of those men and women who sought to flee slavery. The United States Colored Troops of the Civil War exhibit. Go back in time to the American Civil War and experience the lives of the United States Colored Troops. On the main floor, you will find the Winds of War, the story of the United States Colored Troops, and the Freedom Camps exhibits.
Oh, freedom. Oh, freedom. Oh, freedom over me. And before I'll be a slave, I'll be buried in my grave and go home to my Lord and be free. No more crying, no more crying, no more crying over me. And before I'll be a slave, I'll be buried in my grave and go home to my Lord and be free. There are very few places that have a facility that comes close to this. I'm just so thankful that he and others in this community had the foresight to save the structure. Now, with the structure here, it offers all kinds of opportunities to tell the story. This particular exhibit talks about the African-American experience in the Civil War, but there are many other stories to be told here. There are other rooms here that talk about the founding of Rutherford County, the founding of early African-American education in this community. We have parts of this exhibit on the USCT you would not find anywhere else. And in fact, the director of the United States Colored Troop Museum in Washington, D.C. came to Murfreesboro, and I gave him a tour. And in fact, some of the audio that we had put together, he took it back, and they're using it up there in Washington, D.C. in their museum. You know, to me, if you can just inspire one child whose mind, you turn on a light bulb, it's all worth it.
Noted local artist Steve Matthews is also a major contributor to the Bradley Academy Museum and Cultural Center. His exhibits and illustrations bring to life a legitimate characterization of the United States Colored Troops of the American Civil War. The Myrtle G. Lord Heritage Classroom. The Heritage Classroom allows you to experience an actual classroom setting from the early 1900s. The classroom was named for 42-year veteran of education Myrtle Glanton Lord. Miss Lord received several accolades over her life, including a Life Achievement Award, the Outstanding Award for African American Women, and the Community Award for Distinguished Service. Mrs. Myrtle Glanton Lord was also inducted into the Tennessee Teachers Hall of Fame on May 3, 2002. The Bradley Academy and Holloway High School exhibit. Stroll through the halls of the Bradley Academy and Holloway High School exhibit. View Murfreesboro's African American educational legacy and see the importance of these two institutions on the community.
I really felt good, and I felt honored for them to ask me to be able to do this along with Steve Matthews and Robert Orr. It has such a rich history here, and a lot of people that are known within this community have gone to school here and everything, and I think it would be a good thing, even the way the museum is set up itself. It has a lot of history here, even in this room here. You can see a lot of the people in the community that have contributed to this society are listed in this community, as well as Representative Holloway showing some of the principles that was at Holloway. They have the principles here. They've got some of the student activities on display, or whatever. And it's a place for those people that have moved away or whatever. They probably were gone before this right here was actually set up. So they can come back and find some of their history located in this room, as well as some other parts of this the museum.
In addition to artwork by Mrs. Watkins, you will find artistic expressions of Black culture painted by another local artist, Robert Orr. His art captures the many cultural rituals that make up the varied aspects of the African American community. Orr finds a way to bring to life artistic visions that both humor and move. The Rutherford County 19th Century History Exhibit. Walk through Rutherford County in the 1800s and get a sense of Murfreesboro's great history. Hear about President James K. Polk and experience key moments in the development of Murfreesboro and Rutherford County. As a historic landmark, the Bradley Academy building is significant in its identification with Afro-American struggle for equal education and as a symbol of the city and county's commitment to education since 1811.
Bradley Academy Museum and Cultural Center is located at 415 South Academy Street. It's very easy to find. We are open on Tuesdays through Saturdays, and our hours are 10 a.m. until 4 p.m. However, if you want to use and book the facilities after hours, we can make arrangements to do that as well. We also want to bring in groups and community organizations to get an opportunity to see the museum, but also experience some of the other things that we have to offer here. We have an auditorium, we have a boardroom where people can have meetings, they can have banquets. I mean, you can come and make it a day, actually. You could come and visit the museum and then also have your events here.
Advanced reservations are required for large group tours. Auditorium and meeting rooms are available for rental at affordable rates. Please call for more information.